I think you can take a snapshot in time, maybe a 1 or 2 year period, looking at some standard moving average levels and see if the stock actually reflects that it relies on those. You know, if you find
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Kyle Bazzi. I was in place of Joel O'Connor, but he's joining us remote here for our very special interview with Ron Bernstein, founder and CEO of TradeSports.com. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, guys.
Now, for everyone that doesn't know, TradeSports is the first and only, and I love this, fantasy sports experience in which users can play in real time for real money. It's like trading stocks and sports, Ron. What's going on?
That's right. So what we've done is we've created a true exchange, a first-come, first-served proper exchange, but instead of buying and selling stocks like Ford Motor Company or Apple Computer, you get to buy and sell props on sporting events.
Wow, that's
very
awesome.
Interesting, Ron. I've been following this site for quite a while, but you also have a little bit of the background in the financial markets. Could you tell us about your experience in futures and options?
Sure. I had a summer intern job on the Philadelphia Stock Exchange when I was 18 years old, and after doing that for about 3 months, I knew what my life was going to be like afterwards, dropped out of school, and I've been trading options and commodity options for the next 30 years.
Wow. Okay, so you did that. You're still involved doing that, and then you got an interest in trade sports. So, tell us how you originally got interested in it and the course of events that have taken where you are today.
Well, it's a good story. So, as you know, there's some amount of downtime when the markets are active. They're not active every moment of the day. And I was trading cotton futures and cotton options at the time, and it was during the March Madness period when the tournament was going on, and you used to see all these guys coming in and out of the pit and saying, "Hey, who wants to back UNLV or who wants to back Michigan?" Guys were looking for prices, and they were matching liquidity on sports bets when the markets, when the cotton market or the gold market was quiet. And it occurred to me and a couple other guys standing in the trading pit, wouldn't it be great if we could trade sports the same way we're trading stocks? We were looking for like an organized contract, a standardized contract, which a futures market is. We were looking for liquidity where everybody can contribute their liquidity in one place, which an exchange does, and basically guarantee a way to get paid if, the winners win and the losers lose. You don't want to have to chase down your money. So we had this idea, as simple as that. Why can't we trade sports just like we trade stocks and commodities?
Okay, and that developed the original format for trade sports, and now that you're domiciled in New Jersey, you have a little different format. Could you explain the differences between the old and the new format?
Right. So in the United States, there's a restrictive attitude towards betting and gambling online. These things are opening up a little bit. There's casinos in a lot of states in the U.S. now. But sports betting seems to be taking a pretty slow, a pretty long time to get fully permissioned. The old trade sports allowed people to trade against other individuals on a one-on-one basis. Will the Jets beat the Giants tonight, yes or no? The new trade sports, because the laws in the United States are drafting in the fantasy-style game, where you pay an entry fee to join a contest, and you compete against all the other contestants in a contest. And you have to use your skills to trade better than anybody else, and whoever is the best sports trader is the winner of the contest. So traditional fantasy sports, you don't make propositions or analysis about teams, you make propositions or analysis about players. Whereas trade sports, you get to focus right on the game, right on the event that you care about. You're a fan of the Giants, you're a fan of the Jets, whatever it is, you get to participate and think about that event instead of a random roster of players.
Yeah, so Ron, that's definitely, I've been huge into sports, and I had friends that might have partaken in sports gambling in college. What, obviously there's all the concerns around the U.S. and regulations and, is it legal, is it not legal? How do you, as a fan and looking at the site, how can you give me a little peace of mind on it?
Sure. So the legal aspects in the United States are related to how much skill is used in the event. And we know that trading is a skill-based activity, done with time and with many, many repetitions and things like that. It's certainly not a random ability to make money. Better traders seem to make money. And it's the same with fantasy sports. If you're very, very good at analyzing statistics and teams and performances, you can say with no uncertainty that it's a skill-based opportunity. And in the United States, skill-based games are legal for real money with real prizes. There's certain things that have to be followed to make those games legal. For example, the winner must be determined by the players themselves, not by chance. And there's other things that say, hey, this has to be skill and it can't be luck. But once you get past that, you have a whole world of content opportunities, whether it be politics or entertainment ideas, but certainly for us sports, as long as you're competing against other players, not against the house, and as long as it's a skill-based activity, it's completely legal in the United States. Now, that being said, skill is determined on a state-by-state basis. Each of the 50 states has a slightly different definition of what skill is versus luck. And for our reasons, we only offer our service in the 40 states where we use a predominance test. So if it's more skill than luck, we offer our services for real money. In all the other states, we offer free play gaming too. So you can really have a lot of fun just trading the events. Part of the entertainment of being a fan.
All right. Now, we always talk about trade ideas here on the show. I am a Lions fan through and through. I'm the guy that watched every single game when they went 0-16 a few years back. If I wanted to look at them against the Saints this weekend, how can I do that?
Right. So we'll have a contest listed, the Lions against the Saints. In that contest, there will be 5, 6, or 7 different props, and each of those props has a price attached to it. And those prices basically come from the professional handicappers in Las Vegas and all over the world. Even watching ESPN, you're starting to see a lot more discussion about the odds of this or that occurring. So we look at a great football matchup, Saints versus the Lions, and we ask a number of questions. Is Drew Brees going to have more passing yards than Stafford? Are the Lions defense going to have more than 2.5 sacks?
Gotcha.
Will the Lions win? Will the Lions win by more than 3.5 points? So we ask all of these questions and we assign a price to them. And the participants in the contest get to buy and sell these stocks, these props, their predictions, based upon what they think is going to happen. And whoever makes the best predictions, whoever makes the best trades, is the winner of the contest.
With your trading background and obviously creating the site, which is wildly unique and awesome, what similarities have you seen, especially in the skill-based side of it, kind of transferring from the market to what, is just another market per se with tradesports.com?
Right. Well, we think sports is a fantastic laboratory for prediction markets overall. And what a prediction market is using the wisdom of the crowd to determine, the potential likelihood of a future outcome, right? So, football is incredibly well researched. Las Vegas does a great job of coming out with great handicaps, and things start with the price. Let's say the odds of the Lions to win this week might be 52% according to Las Vegas. Just like a future projection for where Apple stock might be or Ford Motor Company might be, we're looking at where the Lions might be in terms of will they or will they not win this next game. And you can use all the data, all the research that you would apply to stock analysis in a very similar way, the relevant factors, of course, to determine who you think is going to win the game. And if you think the Lions have a greater than 52% chance of winning, you would find edge in buying that stock. There's some opportunity there that other people haven't caught on to. And just the same way you would analyze a stock, you can analyze a sporting event.
Ron, I used to like to use trade sports for longer term predictions, like who's going to win the World Series or who's going to win the NCAA tournament. So could you, and right now, let's use the Super Bowl as a scenario. Now, you just can't have a straight prop on who's going to win the Super Bowl. Could you walk us through an entire Super Bowl scenario here, from signing up to the entry fee and as well as the prize money?
Absolutely. So we have a Super Bowl contest on the site right now. It has spaces for 100 entrants to participate, and about 57 of those spots have been taken. You would pay an entry fee to play. In this case, the entry fee is $11, and there's $2,000 in guaranteed prizes for this contest. So the first place winner is going to win $400. The second place winner is going to win $300, all the way down the line, even up to the 20th position will win $30. Every contestant who enters the contest gets the same amount of portfolio money to start trading with, and the contest is to buy and sell the different teams based upon what you think is good value and who you think is going to ultimately win the Super Bowl. So all of the stocks have different prices. For example, right now, the Seahawks last traded at 12%. If the Seahawks win, they go to 100%. And if they don't win, they go to 0%. The Broncos, for example, are trading at about 16%. So all the prices are priced in terms of probabilities. And if they win, and only one team can win, that will go to 100 and everything else will go to 0. So the skill involved here is to figure out what teams are likely to advance and look better as the season progresses, and buy those teams and then sell the other teams that you think are going to be underperformers and dogs, and profit by being short those and profit from being long the ones that are doing very well. The Lions, for example, they're only trading at about 3 or 4%, but the Giants are trading 1%. Cowboys are looking good. They've gone up to 6-7%. So all these things change every week. So as more information becomes available, you get to decide what the good opportunities are versus the tougher opportunities and make trades accordingly. Now, in the contest, you're trading only against the other contestants. So it's a zero-sum game. If you do well, someone else on the other side of your trades is probably not doing as well.
And just to continue that scenario, so will it be actual trading during the Super Bowl? Like, let's say you're in it and you pick Denver and Seattle, and Denver goes up 7-0 early in the game. Will there still be live interaction and live trading going down? Occurring during the actual game,
Absolutely.
Right to the final? Absolutely, huh?
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about trade sports is the fact that you can actually trade while the event or any single event is going on. So imagine the scenario you talked about. We get down to the Super Bowl. There's 2 teams left, and all the stocks that you've bought and sold, some you've bought at 10 or 11 or 12%, some you've sold at 14%. At the end, there's only 2 teams left, and that only one team is going to win. So they're both probably trading close to 50% or somewhere between 40 and 60% based upon the professional handicapper's odds. And that stock or those 2 stocks will continue to trade right until the very end of the Super Bowl until the winner is determined. And one of those stocks is going to go to 100 and the other stock is going to go to 0. So as the first quarter unfolds and Seahawks are up, 10-0, the likelihood for them to win is probably in the high 60s. And the stock will reflect that because everybody still in the contest is going to try hard to win and get the best prices possible based upon what their prediction is.
And just going to something a little bit more current here, I know that Kansas City went up 3-0, but could you just give us, some of the probability here for the World Series, and perhaps the National League Series is a little bit more interesting because I believe it's 2-1 San Francisco. But could you just recap that scenario for us?
Sure. So the individual games have different prices, as well as the NL and the AL conference semifinals, and obviously the World Series finals. So right now there's a lot of focus on, the individual 4 teams and who's going to do that. But there's also really good interest in who's going to win the World Series. So obviously the only relevant teams now would be the 4 teams that are left. And I can tell you that the Giants are trading 37%, whereas the Cardinals are only trading 15%. And on the other side of things, because the Royals and excuse me, the Royals and their opponents, starting early in the season, weren't as popular teams, and they didn't have the most likelihood to win. Certainly the Orioles came out of nowhere. Those teams were part of the field contract
okay.
any other team. So they started trading at 1%, 2%, 3%, and now they're up to the mid-20s. So, if you knew that, or you had suspicions based upon your research, or even while the season was unfolding, that the Orioles were the real deal, you could have bought them for 3, 4, 5, and now they're trading 25.
Wow, awesome, Ron. This is one of the most unique and probably one of the best ideas that molds some of 2 of my biggest passions, trading and sports together. Congrats on it, man, and I hope things are going well. Would love to see it in the future. And just a little bit of insider information here. I'm long the Lions on the Super Bowl, so you can put the money down right on that.
Well, that's a 6% opportunity right now, but if they have a couple of good wins and 1 or 2 surprises along the way, you could certainly see that stock in the low 20s before the playoffs begin. But really, what's most important about it, you get to use your stock language, your stock mindset, and apply it to sports. And sports is a real universal. Every country, all over the world, people love to think about sports. It's not just about the money. It's really also about being a fan again. The heat also helps, but to use your skills, your analytics, just the same way you do in stocks, very, very cool when you apply it to sports.
Joel, we've missed 10 field goals this year. I have Calvin Johnson and Reggie Bush out, and I'm still winning games. This is what you call a ton of upside into this stock. All right, Ron, thanks a lot for joining us today.